You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today's tip comes in the form of a clip from my most recent interview on the Sales Success Stories podcast that we released today that features Irfan Jafar. Irfan is the top account executive at VMware and has consistently sold over 200% of his number. Here's a sample.
For me, top three things that I believe that have allowed me to get to stay on top. Number one, be passionate and exceptional. And I combine these. And what I mean by this is when you get to work for a company and represent products and solutions that you are passionate about, and when that passion blends with the desire to be exceptional in anything you do in life, not just sales, you will most likely achieve results that you can only dream of. And that has been my story for the last many years. And that has played a significant role in my journey in becoming a consistent top performer. The second thing is daily discipline, habits, and focus. I don't think one can find long-term success if they don't have the daily discipline, good habits, and focus. And for me, that's the key, building a disciplined lifestyle. And that's not easy as it may sound. It requires a lot of sacrifice, self-control, and hard work to stay focused and disciplined and to build great habits that lead to success. Scott, I truly believe in the saying, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So I try to live by this daily. And the third thing for me is anything that I start, anything that I begin, is always about beginning everything with the end in mind. And you'll hear me talk about it over and over again. I practice a lot of visualization, and I live the future outcomes and targets in my mind months or if not years in advance. As an example, at the beginning of each year, I write my goals, and I imagine and I visualize myself being a top performer. And then in real life, work towards executing my plan to get to that vision I created. So starting with the end in mind and dreaming big has absolutely played a huge role in my success. When you keep your mind and everything focused on that end that you have created, it's just so much easier to stay focused on your priorities. It's just so much focus to just keep on going, even if your body and mind on certain days would say that I cannot.
Yeah. Well, and that leads me back to the phrase that you use that I love, and I know we're going to tear this apart, is this idea of building a disciplined lifestyle. Talk about that. I mean, at a high level, what does that look like? What does that mean?
So for me, Scott, maybe I should talk about how I start my day, because that's where, the daily discipline core comes in. And I start my day 4:15 a.m. every morning, Scott. I'm not just talking Monday to Friday. I'm talking weekends. Because if you do not have the daily discipline of doing or living your life the way you want to live, not just your career, right? These things are integrated in my mind. Then you cannot build anything on top of it. Because again, as I said earlier, daily discipline, habits, and focus, in my mind, they all go hand in hand. But you have to have the daily discipline of getting out of the bed early in the morning, even if you don't want to. But you have that bigger picture in your head, like the end in mind, right? So it helps you to stay focused. And then once you have that daily discipline of getting up early and chasing your goals and being an exceptional person, then you surround yourself with those habits. As I said earlier, we are what we repeatedly do, right? So that's where the daily discipline that I have becomes a lot easier. It was not always the case, I'll be honest. But once I became that person where I knew that this is what I really need to be successful, it was not just about learning about products or doing certain things. If you're not doing it consistently, if you do not have the discipline, you're leaving it to chance.
All of that was just in the first 7 minutes. And there's another hour and 45 minutes beyond that available for you in episode 115 of the Sales Success Stories podcast. The quickest way to get there and to learn more about Irfan is by clicking over to top1.fm/115. Once you've done that, be sure to come back tomorrow for another great sales tip. Thanks for listening.